Hey, yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk and a replay review for 7th Cav Trooper, who sent me this 1375 AMX game, which is a cool little Tier 7 French light tank with an autoloader. A lot of fun. This tank is an absolute assassin if you can keep it around in the game, and that's always a trick. Clip management is a huge deal with this tank. Has a long reload. It can spit out some pretty good damage with its 4 shells. What is the alpha on this? 175 or some such thing here? Hold the phone. Let's find out. 135. Not even close to 175. Wouldn't it be nice if it was 175? I think I think it should be. So what? 400, almost 500 clip damage if you can get all 4 shots. 7th Cav sent this to me. Had a couple notes for me on here. It says, finally got a game I felt was worth sending in. It's not high damage or high spotting. Just a close comeback win. I got clobbered in the first few minutes. We'll talk about that. So I backed off and regrouped. Trouble mid-game finding something useful to do but not dying paid off in the long run. Said it reminded him of a recent video. I talked about a set of games that are winnable and you can make an impact if you just preserve your vote. We talk a lot about large picture stuff, and this is what we're going to talk about today. But what are those things and what do they look like? That's always the question. So, for example, the thing was shaking. That was weird. I guess the mouse. Making a plan. Assessing the match, the map, the lineup, and making a plan, number 1. Number 2, getting early damage, early spots. Very important. Number 3, keeping your gun in the game. Continuing to either create damage yourself or facilitate your team in creating damage. That's a big one for scouts, obviously, and mediums. Preserving your vote, meaning your hit points, your tank as a basic idea, and as many of your hit points as you can. And then showing up at the end of the game and making good decisions on reacting to the match mid to late game to secure the win. That's kind of the big picture, pie in the sky, 40,000 foot strategic idea of a match. What does it look like? Well, it's a good question. And it looks like a lot of different things. So we're going to talk about a little bit of this, or a lot of bit of this, as 7th Cav gets going in his French AMX 1375 Tier 7 light tank. It's not a scout. That's just a little inside joke between me and 7th. All right. It's a light tank, not a scout. All right, here we go. Headed to the tracks. So we are in the phase during the countdown and this part of making a decision on where to go and why we might do it. Let's break it down a little bit. 3RD, that's going to be painful. In this little light tank, he doesn't want to be stationary too long. He doesn't want to get to low hit points and allow them to think they can take him out, because then all 3 are going to be shooting at him to get rid of him. That's basic 101 tanks 101 kind of stuff, but it's extremely important in this match because of how light this tank is and how relatively few hit points it has in the match. He's bottom tier. It's only 2 tiers, so that's nice. That also comes into the calculus. What else is going on? Couple TDs, couple 3 TDs, a lot of heavies. Very interesting. Now, as I look at this, I would expect a lot of their heavies to be in the city. If the AX is smart, he's probably on the tracks. Really, if all 4 of them are smart, they'd be on the tracks. Why? Because the tracks is the critical terrain. But I don't expect that to always happen. I think a good chunk of their heavies will probably go to the town. Obviously, I've watched this, so I know what they do. All right. But had I loaded into this is the exact thing I would have expected to have happen. I also would have expected maybe the Renegade and the Carnarvon to come on the tracks. That doesn't actually happen. The TDs will TD. They'll be in the middle somewhere, potentially backing up the tracks. Who knows? 1375, he could be headed down the track, so he may be one of the first things I see. And there's a couple mediums, the Progetto, the Udez, who could be an issue coming into the tracks as well. And that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at what happens here. Early damage, early SA from the light tank. And I think this is a good move. His team sends a good amount of people here, even the T26E5. There's an example of what I'm talking about, a heavy that's pretty good at fighting in this general area over here. And he's also got the AMX 5100. Not quite as good, but decent depression on it, and another autoloader. If you can create an early advantage on the tracks with autoloaders like that and delete several of their tanks early, That's going to cause a nice snowball effect. What else do we have going on? Not great. The town is going to be a little bit weak. We have a couple guys in the middle, and the VK 100-01 seems to have not made a decision yet. He's just moving, I believe, out of cap, and we're going to come up into what is a pretty standard spotting bush right at the beginning. I think this is a pretty good idea, but unfortunately something very bad happens right here. We're going to come on up here, and we're going to kind of goof around, and we're going to turn around, and then we're going to do this, and then all of a sudden, holy crap, a 1375 shows up down there. Now, I don't know if 7th Cav noticed the 1375 or if he thought he wouldn't be spotted by him. The new commander's vision system and some of the other buffs and things. Man, I'm going to tell you something right now that doesn't have a whole lot to do with this match other than what's going to happen to him here. Assume you're spotted now, guys. The burn through with all these new devices and things and bushes just aren't doing what they used to do. I'm telling you. So be very, very careful with your bush use. Some of the aggressive forward positions are kind of death traps at this point. So what happens is he comes up here and he wants to get that early damage. He gets it. He gets hit and tracked and is unable to get out fast enough until he fixes it. Holy cow. And we're down to 312 hit points. So right off the bat in this match we have a big problem. And the note that 7th Cav gave me is talking about, I want to preserve my vote, and I'm on board with that. But when we prioritize one of those big pie-in-the-sky ideas over all others, we're probably going down the wrong track. And I'll show you what I mean right here. So we're going to bail out, and I think this is a good idea. You need to go dark, absolutely. You don't want the arty to hit you. So we turn around, looks like maybe we're thinking about helping. There does seem to be a pretty good force of tanks coming in. As a matter of fact, the Renegade did come this way. I didn't realize that. So there you go. And we're going to bail out. And I thought, okay, maybe we're going to the middle, or we're going to go try to find something else to do. Maybe we're going to sneak around and get there 1375, who looks like he's on the other side of the tracks trying to be sneaky. But we just bail out and we keep on trucking. So I think here, potentially, you're prioritizing a little too hard on the save my vote. All of those ideas and the way you play the game, they don't do anything separately. If I go into a match and say, I'm going to preserve my vote because Guido said, I'd go into that bush in front where the M12 is and sit there an entire game. Because that would be the best way to preserve my vote. Right? But you can't do that. You can't do those things in a vacuum. All the rest of the things have to happen. You need to be facilitating damage. You need to be helping your team. You need to be looking for assassination opportunities with this little auto loader. You need to be spotting, like I said, facilitating damage or doing damage, helping the team. And the problem is this is not it. Let's just talk a small mechanical thing. As soon as I knew I was going to run all the way back here, I had to hit C and reload right there. You do a pretty good job later on in the game with it, so I'm not sure if you just forgot, or maybe, I don't know, you went there and sat, maybe you had to go to the bathroom. I'm not sure. Not really sure what was going on there. So now we're looking for something to do. We're starting to approach that mid-game side. And look what happened down there in the south on the tracks. Your team did a really nice job. Had you been there, this thing is amazing for jumping out and assassinating low hit point things or multiple low hit point things. Just an extra gun down there. You did want to avoid just sort of rocking back and forth and getting spotted, because stationary-wise, one of those three artillery is probably going to take a poke at you. But I think by being a little bit smart and using some of the mobility down there, you could have helped that team leverage that what's looking like a win on the tracks quite a bit. There's a nice advantage for your team, but I want you to watch what happens. I want everybody to watch what happens to the advantage. So we're going to move across here, and I'm thinking, all right, it's going to go to the town. I don't think that's a great idea. I don't think that's a great idea at all, because they're kind of losing in there. We're going to come up to the top. All right, maybe he's going to the middle. He's going to take a look in the middle. Your team continues to push their advantage on the tracks. Clearly there's a problem up north, and what was an advantage is turning into an equal game to potentially a not equal game, because your city guys are about to die. And we're still running around with 3 shells in the clip. And I think you just kind of forgot that had happened, that you took the shot, and you're not paying attention really. So your guys do a nice job. They clean up. And the advantage is back. No, okay, now it's 5-5. They are definitely going to win the town. The Super Hellcats on 41 hit points. You got an E25 that needs to run away and go find some place to be a sneaky sniper. Much better at that. And we're going to come around here, and this was probably a pretty good idea, I think, right here. So finally, That whole mid-game raging around the middle with no real plan, which you noted. So that's part of the reacting to the battle. I think you needed to be down in the south on the tracks, helping your guys clean that up as fast as possible. They're going to start coming back, which is a good idea here, but we're going to see what you can do hanging out in the bush. Now, this is weird to me. That guy's double bushed. I think I would have shot him right there. Just lift up into his turret. It's a little bit angled, but you got a green marker, so I think you had a pretty good chance of putting a shot into the side of his turret right there. Yeah, just boom. Oh, see, you were double bushed too. So you wait quite a long time. He disappears because he's double bushed. And whoever spotted him a moment ago, he gets hit, looks like. I didn't see an explosion on the ground, so I think he got directly hit. 112's running in. Look at that. Super Hellcat survived, at least for the moment. Good on him. Running away bravely. And your guys on the track got killed. So they kept pushing. That's the problem with the tracks and 3 artillery and some TDs in the game. People will win, get a slight advantage, and they'll keep on pushing down the tracks, and it happens both ways. It's pretty easy to defend the approaches, especially if you maul the guys that you were taking on the tracks. Once they killed a few of them, they needed the student body right and come back towards cap to deal with the cap. I've showed several videos of this very same map with this very same idea, so at least you're up there helping out with that. Would have been better, as I've said 3-4 times. Nice little shot on this guy's side right here, but not enough to kill him. 3 hit points. You try again. Oh, how was he not spotting you? That blew my mind. I'm assuming the stun, maybe he had a commander did, maybe he had a bad crew, maybe a combination of all those things, but I don't think he was double bushed. Once he came out in the open, I don't think there's another bush between you and him, and that little opening right there. So that was very interesting that happened. But we get him dead. Fantastic. That helps with some of the push that's coming from the town. There's still the 112 who's moved into the middle. Like I was saying, help out down in the south, clean them up, preserve a few of your own team's hit points because you were in there helping. And then with your speed and mobility, you could have still got over to here and help them take on the guys that are pushing into the cap. Clip management, there you go. Took a little longer. I think maybe you thought you might have a shot on the 112, but once it was proven you were not going to get one, you hit C and we've reloaded. So nice job on that. Flexing down. Okay, so we won the tracks, but then kind of got mauled pushing, so we decided not to do that. Looks like your team more or less noticed that there was a threat to the cap, so they start to sort of fade back. The VK-101 he's kind of stuck in the swamp right there. He's not in a great position, trying to hide out under the bridge. Your 5100's YOLO'd in to get rid of the 112. Looks like the E25's trying to get a piece, and I thought you were going to head in here and add your weight to these guys. So they die. Oh, dang it. The 5100 dies. That's not good. Too arty. And we roll in here. The 100-01 is 100% hit points, man. I mean, the CS-53 is moving in. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. You guys are going to... And I'm like, 7th, brother. All right, fine. Do you have a shot? Nope. All right, now go. Go help. Go help. Oh, the 100-01 is getting mauled. You're hanging out right here. The CS-53 doesn't really want none. And the opportunity for a huge advantage. The 100-01 just withers away because he has no support. And holy cow, did we even do any damage to these guys? Doesn't look like much at all. I think you had an opportunity to get in there initially to try to get the 112. Once he died, keep flowing down to the tracks, and that's what these things excel at. Yes, you are a one-shot, definitely to the Canon and Jagdpanzer, and potentially to the 14.5, unless he gets a bit of a low roll, I think. And there goes your CS-53, and oh geez, no help, man, no help. So I think this is a good idea not to go YOLOing in right now, a little late to the party. Come in here and start to leverage our artillery. The E25 does the Lord's work and takes out one of the arty, and Angel gets its wings. Unfortunately, he's not able, and that was a bummer too. Your arty could have easily taken that guy out, but somehow misses. He's on the back slope. It's going to be a hard shot. The E25 is attempting to take out the M12 down there, but he's dealing with the stair. And all of a sudden we get the Canonin coming over here. He gets lit up. He probably knows it's you. The E25 is more than likely lit over there, so he's thinking, oh crap, that scout's sitting in here. Here comes the 14.5. We shoot. Nice. And shoot. Oh man, I think I would have just... Yikes. I would have just stayed right there and gunned him down. You were double bushed. You could have backed out as well of your bush a little bit, but it worked out. You got the guy down. Keep on moving, absolutely. They're down to 1 arty. That's very helpful, but you lost your E25, and that's a bummer. The Cannonen's a bit of a trick right now, actually, because he can certainly one-shot you, and we get a break. I don't know what this guy was doing, how he manages this, but it looks like you're looking for him. That's a good idea. And then he drowns. Pay attention to those things, guys. I've done this before where I'm looking for somebody who was there, and I don't really see that they drowned because obviously nobody's over there shooting them. And then I look at the enemy list and go, where did that Cannonen Jagdpanzer go? He's dead. He drowned himself somehow. Alright, so a bit of a break. What are we going to do with it? Well, I thought, alright, this is okay. We're reacting to the match. We're going to go ahead and move into the middle and see what we can do to get some lights for the artillery. We got a Chi-Ri who has not been seen at all. Who knows where that guy is? We have an M12 who can easily splash me, and a Stare who can also be problematic because they fire pretty quickly. He's going to take 2 shots off the Stare to take you down. The Chi-Ri can maybe gun you down with its 3-clip. With its 3-shot clip. And then I thought, holy cow, why are we going into the town? Why are we going into the town? This almost wholly negates the advantage you have with the view range and the speed and the stealthiness of this. I would have gone straight to the middle about here and just take a look. You got 6 minutes. There's no reason to go raging into things and, you know, hey, I'm going to circle. I'm scouting. Get into some bushes over here. Take a look. Just pause for a second. Are they moving around? Where are they? And then move from cover to cover, maybe up to this position here, potentially down low through this area to kind of look around here and try to find these dudes. Preserving the ability to dodge behind things, buildings, maybe jump up into this part of the town to hide. But going straight into the town, I think maybe you were thinking the Stare and the M12 are probably camping, and they might be, but who knows where the Chi-Ri is, and this is about the worst case, finding him out in the open with you right here. As soon as I saw that, I figured you'd just do a 180 or maybe a 135 slice back and just head back towards the cap, or maybe even get to one of these bushes and just start spotting this dude for the artillery, but you took the road less traveled. A 1200 hit point Chi-Ri, you with 312, there's an artillery. I'm going to be honest with you, I do not understand this right here. This is the exact opposite of what should have happened, but it works out for you. So we shoot this guy once and get a track, and then we put 1 damage on him. And we put another piece of damage on him. Probably just want to just pickle that off as you were going. Who knows, maybe it hit him. Nice work with the C. Thank goodness the building was there and Harvey missed us. And the Chi-Ri is now chasing us. Alright, so Chi-Ri knows exactly where we are. We got, I'm going to be honest, super lucky with that to get away with only taking 1 hit from that guy. But we know he's charging hard to try to find us. So we're going to flow right over and go right at the M12. What happened to the... I think the other guy drowned again? Did another guy drown? I have no idea what happened to the TD, to the Stare. Very strange. I'm going to have to back that up after this just to figure that out. They keep drowning. There you go. Somebody just said it. So he manages to drown. That's pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic. TD players and campers often don't know much about the map other than the places they camp for 20, 30, 40,000 games. They do sometimes have trouble moving around maps and do things like that because they just simply never move around maps. So we're going to come in here and make another bit of a mistake. We have a good chance to just take down the artillery right here. We know he's in here. Looking for him. There we go. Auto aim. Fire. Miss. Bummer. Just carve into the right on this guy. Just carve right in here and put 2 more shots right into his side and take him out. Oh boy. Well, alright. So we hit C. I think that's a good idea. But the Chi-Ri is charging in. We just don't have time. We have to wait for a reload, though, and that's unfortunate. We're going to go all the way around the cap. I don't know, man. I kind of understand why you did that. You don't want him to know you're on the cap. The Chi-Ri's coming anyway. He knows where you are. And the problem is we're reloaded and we have a long drive to get back to use the reload. I think I just hang out along the edge of the ravine. Vice go all the way that deep. You get reloaded. Now I have to take another 10, 12 seconds just to drive in and take this dude out. I'm surprised the Chi-Ri hasn't showed up. But he will. So we'll come in here and we'll get a shot on this guy. Nope. Oh, we did. All right. So they already didn't get him. Chibi shows up. Absolutely getaway. Yikes. That was one of his shells. I think you might have been able to hit C right here, but this is probably a better idea. And they're already just missing somehow. That really stinks. 3 already, and none of them took any hit points off the guy. And we get away with this, too. We shoot there. He misses. Oh, jeez. And we get the kill once again right before the Artie can get a shot. Nicely done. 1,322 damage, 1,015 assists. Stop doing that. I'm going to have a seizure. 3 kills and a win. So I think there's a lot of really good thought pattern going on right here. You're in general trying to do the right thing, but I think it is misprioritized in a couple cases. A couple mistakes mechanically on how you took guys on. I think the 2 biggest are obviously the hit points we lost early on. That one was going to be a little bit hard to predict. It was surprising that the other 1375 came on the inside. I believe that's the track he took, which is how he got there so fast. But in today's meta, I'd be really careful about bushes. So maybe just kind of poke up and take a quick look and back up just to see what's going on instead of driving right up to it, spinning around, and thinking, I'm going to get the first shot opportunity. Because between the Progetto, the guys lighting you in the Progetto, and the other, whoever, 14-5, I think it was, that hit you, all of a sudden you lost a lot of your votes. So then you went into pure preservation mode, which I think was the exact right idea, just executed wrongly. You just took yourself out of the fight for no real reason. You did need to go dark. You did need to survive. But I think you could have leveraged a lot more firepower down there for your team. Some extra spotting, another tank they have to worry about. Sometimes just the presence of an extra tank is going to cause issues for the enemy team because they've got to consider whether they want to take that shot and let the autoloader jump all over them after they take that shot. It does spread out the SA of the enemy, trying to fight more tanks than were there without you. Then the mid-game stuff, a little bit wandering around, you noticed that or you talked about it. I did like the eventual flex to the north to spot the guys who won in the town. I thought it was a good idea not to go in the town. That was a pretty much death sentence, more than likely. Got a heavy dead as he was coming in. Then when you flex back to the south, you missed an opportunity right there to leverage again the autoloader, your speed and maneuverability to get in there and maybe preserve some of your tanks. Potentially to keep the 100-01 alive. They were all concentrated on him, and that's a great place for an autoloader to come in and add his firepower while a bunch of guys are shooting one tank. All of a sudden you show up and you start nuking them. So, and you know, even if sometimes if they get their gun on you and take you out or hurt you, it gives him a few more seconds to reload, and now he can bring his firepower into it. Between you and the CS-53, and I think you may have drugged the CS-53 with you. If he saw you going in, he probably would have gone in as well and preserved at least 1 or 2 of those tanks. 1 at least, if not both of them. But they both die, and then we have to do some very heroic kind of maneuvers at the end to take out the 14-5, and then we get a little bit lucky with the Cannonen and the Stair drowning themselves. You know, it's not necessarily that you get lucky, it's what you do with it. We got there, though, right? So we ended up winning. Nice game right there. Appreciate you sending that in. I think it was a great one as an example of taking a look at those big picture things and sometimes maybe prioritizing a little too hard on one or the other. All right, that's all I've got, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We will see ya.